Hey everyone, it's Jessie checking in from Val d'Isère. It's Saturday morning here in resort, and things are starting the day with a very familiar winter feel. Yesterday came with no real surprises at all, just as forecast, with grey skies, cloud and snowfall through the entire skiing day. Then later in the afternoon, the clouds finally began to lift, revealing a much brighter sky, a little too late for most skiers, but still a welcome sight as the day wrapped up on the mountain. Overnight in town was very cold and dry, with temperatures dropping through the evening and settling around -11 degrees Celsius for most of the night. There was no snowfall recorded and conditions stayed clear and quiet. Winds remained light throughout, generally around 3 to 5 kilometers per hour, with occasional stronger gusts. So despite the low temperatures, it never felt particularly blustery. By early morning, temperatures were still close to -11 degrees Celsius, keeping a sharp winter feel around the village as the day began. Around town today, it's a mostly cloudy morning and it stays that way into the afternoon, with even thicker cloud moving in later on. Don't expect much sunshine today. Temperatures in the village peak at around -1 degrees Celsius, so it stays firmly on the cold side. Winds are very light overall, just a gentle airflow, shifting from an easterly earlier on to a northwesterly later today, so nothing too noticeable at street level. Up on Bellevarde, conditions are similar but colder. It stays cloudy all day with no real breaks expected, and visibility may feel a bit flat at times. Temperatures at the summit top out around -7 degrees Celsius. Winds are light this morning, picking up slightly around midday before easing again this afternoon, blowing mainly from the southwest. It's not extreme, but it will feel sharper and more exposed than down in the village. Before we get into tonight's events, it's time for Steve's weekly weather report. A big thanks to Steve for being out there, watching conditions closely and keeping an eye on what's coming up over the next few days. And if you ever want to pick Steve's brain about skiing, it's simple. Book a lesson with him through TDC, the Development Centre. Over to you, Steve.
Welcome folks, and welcome to a weekly snow report for myself, Steve Angus, here in Val d'Isère, where we've had fantastic conditions the past week with westerly systems battling against some established air masses over Italy and the Mediterranean. It's resulted in some really snowy days, as you can see over my shoulder here. About 40 centimetres of snow has fallen. It's been interspersed with some sunshine, as I predicted last week, but also a bit of wind. Temperatures have been about -5, -10, about seasonal norms. So if you are coming out the next week, keep packing those thermals, that's for sure. Now, the good news is for the next week is I think the westerly systems are going to take precedence, producing yet more white gold falling out the sky, which is great news. But it will be interspersed, as it has been the last week, with some sunshine and maybe a bit of wind. So keeping us all on our toes, that is for sure. Now, the resort, now we're moving into February, will get a lot busier out there. So please plan your days accordingly to make the most of your time on the mountains. With temperatures around about -10, keep packing those thermals, but enjoying it out there because the conditions are absolutely amazing, both on the piste and off the piste. Absolutely amazing. Thanks for tuning in. You've been listening to Steve Angus here in Val d'Isère. I'll be back next week for another update. Until then, stay safe, keep smiling, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye for now.
Later on tonight, Hermétique is taking over B-Bar for a full-on techno, hard tech and hardcore night. Heavy bass and raw energy right through the evening, so expect the walls to shake. Over at Le Pub, Funk Drunk is on the decks, mixing funk, hip-hop and house, with Rum DMC keeping the party moving. And for the football fans, Le Hibou and the Black Sheep are both showing the Premier League clash at 9 o'clock tonight. It's Liverpool versus Newcastle, which should be a big one. The only real decision is whether you go for Asian food at Le Hibou or pizza at the Black Sheep. Before heading off piste today, it's important to take a close look at the avalanche situation. This is a translated summary of the official Bulletin d'estimation du risque d'avalanche issued by Météo France, and you must check the full report using the link in the video description before making any decisions. Today, the avalanche risk is limited below 1,800 metres, but marked above 1,800 metres. The main concern is unstable surface snow, combined with a persistent weak layer that remains reactive. Recent wind and repeated small snowfalls have formed many fragile surface slabs in all aspects. These are mainly found in accumulation zones, both near ridgelines and lower down slopes. They are easy to trigger and usually produce small avalanches, but medium-sized releases are also possible. Above 1,800 meters, a deeper persistent weak layer is buried within the snowpack. This is most common on north, east, and west-facing slopes, but can also be present on high south-facing terrain. If triggered, avalanches can be large, with fracture lines approaching a meter, and remote triggering is possible. Chain reactions are also a real concern. Warning signs include visible wind-blown snow cracking in the surface, or a whoomph sound underfoot. Spontaneous avalanches remain limited today, but small releases are still possible near ridges and in very steep terrain, especially where wind loading has occurred. Snow cover is generally normal for the season. Cold, shaded slopes still hold good snow down to lower altitudes, while below around 1,700 meters, the snow can become heavier and more sticky under cloud. Skiing conditions can be very enjoyable, but instability beneath the surface means careful route choice is essential. Keep terrain simple, avoid steep loaded slopes, and make conservative decisions. This is not a day for pushing it. If you're planning to explore the mountains this season, remember, off-piste skiing is dangerous. Always take a qualified guide and never go off-piste without a transceiver, shovel, and probe. And most importantly, know how to use them and practice regularly. That's it for today's update. Have a great day out there. Ski safe, enjoy the calmer Saturday slopes, and if you spot anything happening around resort that's worth sharing, drop it in the comments. I'll see you again tomorrow. If you're finding our updates useful, a like and a subscribe to the Val d'Isère online YouTube channel really helps to support what we do and reach more people who love the resort.
For further information, piste reports, and events sponsored by Val d'Isère Tourism, please go to radiovaldisere.com, the local radio station with the most up-to-date information. Forecast information provided by meteoblue.com, infoclimat.fr and meteofrance.fr. Conditions in the Alps can change quickly, so always check before heading out. Webcam pictures courtesy of the official Val d'Isère website valdisere.com.